Let's talk muscle cars, man. We're talking raw power, sleek designs, that rumble in your chest kind of cars. And when it comes to American muscle, two names always top the list: Dodge Challenger and Ford Mustang. These ain't just cars, they're legends. They represent freedom, rebellion, and good old-fashioned American horsepower. Today we're gonna pit two titans against each other, the 1970 Dodge Challenger and the 2005 Ford Mustang GT. Get ready for a classic showdown. These cars are more than just steel and rubber, they're symbols of different eras, reflections of American culture at different points in time. The Challenger, born in the golden age of muscle cars, screams classic cool. The Mustang GT, a modern revival of an icon, packs modern tech and a whole lot of attitude. This ain't just about specs, it's about soul. So buckle up because we're diving deep into the heart of these American icons. 1970, the year the Challenger roared onto the scene. This was pure muscle car aggression. Long hood, short deck, the classic recipe for a tire-shredding good time. Designers weren't messing around. This car was built for one thing: to dominate. Under the hood you could get some serious iron. The 440 Magnum V8, beastly. The 426 Hemi, legendary. These engines weren't just powerful, they were raw, untamed power. Stepping on the gas was like unleashing a caged animal. This wasn't a car for the faint of heart. It was loud, it was proud, and it was thirsty. But that was the point. The Challenger was a statement. It said, "Get out of my way, world, I got places to be." Fast forward to 2005. The Mustang GT arrived, bringing classic muscle car vibes into the new millennium. This ain't your daddy's Mustang, unless your daddy was really cool. It took design cues from the classic Stangs, but with a modern twist. It was sleek, it was aggressive, and it meant business. Under the hood, the 4.6-liter V8 packed a punch. It might not have had the raw displacement of the Challenger's big blocks, but it was no slouch. It was all about that high-revving, tire-smoking fun. Plus, it had modern tech like fuel injection and electronic engine management. More power, more efficiency. That's what I'm talking about. The Mustang GT was a driver's car. It was responsive, it handled well, and it was just plain fun to drive. It was a car that made you feel alive, that made you want to hit the open road and just cruise. Alright, let's get real. Driving these two cars is like comparing a shot of whiskey to a craft IPA. Both strong, both awesome, but in totally different ways. The Challenger is a raw, visceral experience. You feel every bump in the road, you hear every roar of the engine. It's a workout to drive, but man, it's rewarding. The Mustang GT, it's a smoother ride. It's more refined, more comfortable. But don't let that fool you, it can still lay down rubber with the best of them. It's all about that balance of power and control. Which one's better? Man, that's like picking a favorite child. It's all about what you're looking for in a driving experience. You want raw power and nostalgia? Challenger's your ride. You want modern performance and a bit more refinement? Mustang GT all the way. Both the Challenger and the Mustang have left their mark on American culture. You've seen them on the big screen, heard them in songs, and probably even dreamed about driving one. The Challenger, instant classic. Vanishing point, anyone? That car was a star. It became a symbol of the rebellious spirit of the 70s. The Mustang, it's been a cultural icon since the 60s. From Steve McQueen in Bullitt to modern-day car chases, the Mustang has always been synonymous with cool. And the 2005 GT, it brought back that classic Mustang magic for a new generation. These cars aren't just transportation, they're cultural touchstones. They represent something bigger than themselves. They represent the American love affair with the open road, with freedom, and with just plain cool cars. Section 6. Engine roar. Comparing power and performance. Let's talk horsepower, baby. The Challenger packed some serious heat under the hood. We're talking about V8 engines that could make your hair stand on end. The 440 Magnum cranked out 375 horses, while the legendary 426 Hemi could pump out over 425. These engines were all about torque, about that raw, tire-shredding power that made muscle cars famous. The Mustang GT, on the other hand, boasted a more modern 4.6-liter V8. It might not have had the raw displacement of the Challenger, but it was no slouch, pushing out a respectable 300 horsepower. Plus, it had the advantage of modern technology like fuel injection and overhead cams, which meant it delivered that power more efficiently and reliably. Both cars could really move, but they did it in different ways. The Challenger was all about brute force, while the Mustang GT was a bit more refined, a bit more surgical in its delivery of power. Section 7, Design Philosophies, Classic versus Contemporary. The 1970 Challenger was a product of its time. It was big, it was bold, and it didn't care about things like aerodynamics or fuel efficiency. This car was all about attitude. The long hood and short deck screamed speed, while the aggressive front grille and hideaway headlights gave it a menacing look. The 2005 Mustang GT took a different approach. It paid homage to the classic Mustangs of the past, but with a modern twist. It was still a muscular car, but it was also more aerodynamic and refined. The lines were smoother, the stance was lower, and the overall design felt more contemporary. Both cars were head-turners, but they appealed to different sensibilities. The Challenger was a classic muscle car through and through, while the Mustang GT represented the evolution of the species, a modern interpretation of a timeless design. Section 8. The verdict: which muscle car reigns supreme, so which one wins? The classic 1970 Challenger or the 2005 Mustang GT? Man, that's a tough call. It's like comparing apples and oranges. They're both awesome in their own right. The Challenger is for the purists, the folks who want that raw, visceral muscle car experience. It's a trip back in time, a reminder of when cars were big, loud, and proud. The Mustang GT, on the other hand, is for those who want a bit more refinement with their muscle. It's a car that can handle everyday driving but still deliver thrills when you want them. Me? I love them both. But if I had to choose just one, I'd probably go with the Challenger. It's just such a classic, such an icon. Plus, there's nothing quite like the feeling of unleashing that big block V8. It's an experience that's hard to beat. Section 9. Conclusion: a legacy of power and passion. At the end of the day, both the 1970 Dodge Challenger and the 2005 Ford Mustang GT represent the very best of American muscle car heritage. They're symbols of power, freedom, and the open road. They're cars that were built to be driven, to be enjoyed, and to turn heads wherever they go. These cars are more than just machines. They're pieces of American history, reflections of our culture, and our love affair with the automobile. They represent a time when cars were all about passion, about raw power, and about the thrill of the drive. And that, my friends, is something that will never go out of style.